that's going to bring us to our main conversation. But before we get there, make sure you do yourself a favor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button. Make sure you are tuned into the Charles Coleman podcast, your new favorite podcast and your new home for Black brilliance. Come get with us. We in hyperspace. Today's main topic, I tweeted out something that it's simple, but people found it to be like profound. I don't necessarily know that it's profound, but I do think it warrants discussion and consideration. I said that, what I tweeted was that Black men deserve to grow old. And by extension, I also meant that Black people deserve to grow old. And there are a number of different things that I meant with that. Okay. I was immediately referring to violence in urban communities. And I was talking about that and its impact. But as I thought about that, I started to think more and more about choices and lifestyle. And I'm like, we can sit and talk about like exercise and clean eating and things of that nature. But that really wasn't where I was going with it. I mean, that's always a part of everything. I was speaking more along the lines of just the spaces that we choose to engage our energy. You know what I'm saying? Like going places and being around people in situations that are not adding to us, but that are taking from us. Continuing to have connections to things and spaces and people that are not fulfilling, that are draining. Is it that we're not conscious of it? Is it that we don't see it as being a big deal? Like, we deserve to grow old. And I feel like we don't always act like it. Meaning, I don't think that we always act like we deserve to grow old. And when I say grow old, I mean, Kurt, you and I as Black men, we know a lot of people who didn't make it to where we are in terms of age. Too many. Too many. So much so that I won't say it's common, but it's far more normal than it should be. I think, Gloria, the same may be true for you in terms of just knowing that. And again, even for our elders, right? Like, we have some elders in community who, once they hit that like 75 mark, we feel like they out the door. That's not old.
Right.
It's not. It doesn't have to be old.
Right.
Right? Like, it doesn't have to be old.
I mean, we're grateful if we get to there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so this has really been heavy on me. And I just wanted to know, like, is it why do we not necessarily approach our movements, our energy, our spaces, our choices around like an expectation that like, I deserve to grow old. And I'm gonna act like I plan to be around this for a while.
I think it's about things being, I'm gonna use a word, tribal. Like, there's certain sectors of everybody, right? Certain groups, right? And a lot of times people from one group kind of evolve and go into a different group and then keep evolving, keep moving, right?
Okay.
And those are the ones who get older, in my opinion, right? But I think the ones that stay in a sector for too long, I think the activity within that sector is what limits life at times.
So your belief is, if you don't evolve, then your world becomes limited to wherever you were.
Correct.
Or wherever you are. And it's really no incentive because there's nothing beyond that.
Right.
In your mind.
Right.
Like, it's just like, I've been in this space, I've been in this room, so to speak. I've never gone to the room over there or the room over there. I've touched all four corners here. So every other day is Groundhog Day.
Right.
That is really limiting.
It's extremely.
Wow. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think, living with purpose, I mean, at the end of the day,
very
there's so
similar.
many, but there's so many other obstacles, I think, that are out there that are really kind of like oppressing Black men too, that we cannot like ignore, we kind of feel like a lot that's already happened historically, like it's in our past, so that it doesn't have any carryover. But the spirits of those tensions still exist in a lot of people's lives to this very day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the last of 10, and I'm thinking about it as you're speaking. I'm like, I already lost 2 of my brothers of the 10. You know what I'm saying? I only have 1 brother left. You know, and actually that's not even true. Well, the youngest one of the brothers, he passed very young. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you know, the 2 brothers that I grew up with that are no longer with us. You know, when I think about what was their cause of death, I'm just like, dang, it's just they worked hard. You know, black men don't want to go to the doctors. You know, things got under the radar, and then they pass over something like uncontrolled blood pressure, diabetes. You know, the things that are rampant in our community. You know what I'm saying? You know, and these aren't men that were obese. These aren't men that physically presented in a way that would have us on them like, yo, you need to take better. They look great.
That's the thing.
You know,
is that. Yeah, no, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's the thing is that sometimes the optics can be fooling, and it's not just health is part of it.
Yeah,
but I think it's the unspoken intangibles of like what it is to exist in the skin that can really weigh on us. And I think I think your point, you guys made some really good points just about. You called it evolution, you called it purpose. I think that they both have a place in the conversation. You have to evolve to a place where you can appreciate what your purpose is. Right, and to be in that space. Those 2 things are critical. But I also think that you have to be real about the unseen effects of what life can mean and be living in this skin. Like we've talked about, and it's been proven genetically that the effects of racism can literally be genetically passed down through people's DNA. Like it's a thing. For anybody who did not know that, it's an actual thing. When you have an incident that is racially tense or gets you stressed out, your cortisol levels go up. Like that's a thing. Over the years, how that compounds. That there's a book that's called The Black Tax. And it talks about, I forget the author, I apologize, but it talks about the tax of the different things, in terms of being black. And it's not just, I think it definitely affects our men more than our women, but it also affects our women too. You know what I mean? I just think per capita, it's like, and your Gloria, your point about us working, right? Because a lot of us, it's always so interesting to me, the myth or the trope of black people as like lazy and shiftless. I'd be like, what? We built this bitch for free. How? What are you talking about? Right? Like not just that, but like every black person I know works their fingers to the proverbial bone. Right. And whether it's a legacy that we built or for ourselves or our family, a 100-year plan, and we talk about that, right? Or something that we end up enhancing for others. We go to the grave with that. Right. But we go way too early.
And that's why I think that it's so important for us to have our spiritual disciplines. When they look at our community, as much as we die early, as much as we work hard, they know there's something very sustainable about the black that don't crack. You understand what I'm saying? I think it ties back to our spiritual disciplines, and we have to kind of like identify what those things are and dig into it. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's, building that level of hope inside of your process, finding those things in your routine that's daily, that gives you an opportunity. Like your physical body is easy to think about, oh, I need to get healthy, I need to eat better, I need to work out, you know what I'm saying? My mental body, I need to put some new information, some new books. What are you doing for your spiritual body? That's a real person in you. Because when your mental body and your physical body is being extremely strained and your spiritual body is weak, that's what causes the collapse. So if you bring up your spiritual body along with your mental and your physical, you now are a balanced being, can contend with whatever it is out there. And that spiritual component is going to really take you to that next level. But if we're not really putting that time, or we don't believe, or we spending too much energy trying to feel like we can manifest what we want just with our own hands and not believing that somehow something else is going on that's bigger than us.
Namaste. Namaste right here.
I'm going to stay right here, right. We got to start thinking out. We got to start thinking different ways and different approach.
I agree.
How you stay young?
How do you stay young?
How do you stay young?
Keep moving. Like me personally, certain coming from particular background, there's things that I knew I had to let go early. I knew that. I knew that coming
Yeah,
in.
so you didn't deny the genetics
Nope,
of the
not at all.
situation. A lot of people do. I think that's important.
Yeah.
You know, one thing, this is interesting. I'm shifting into a season personally where I'm dealing with the notion of like parental care, and I'm having conversations with my pops about his health, learning things about like hereditary traits that I did not know. I'm 43 years old. Why am I finding this out now?
Right.
Right? Like you had, that's a blessing that you had, that you was able to let those things go early. Because you then were empowered to make certain decisions and ease your way into different lifestyle things. There are things that like I'm finding out now, like my dad just gave me access to his medical chart. And I was like, so you wasn't gonna, what? Like you wasn't
Right.
gonna tell me this?
Nah, he wasn't.
Why? But again, that's an example of like, I want to live long, but then I would want my lineage to live long as well. Like, why do we make those choices?
That I can't answer, but we do know they exist.
Yes, we do.
Right. So I'm sorry you had to find out certain things.
Oh no, I mean, you know, yes,
Right.
but I'm also thankful.
Right.
Because a lot of people don't.
But we're also the first generation that has the responsibility of being
The sandwich.
right, being in that sandwich. You know what I'm saying? I'm still raising young adult children, but I'm also still a caregiver for my dad. You know what I'm saying? In some capacity. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Having that hybrid space. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a unique stress on us, but it also gives us insight into how we need to kind of manage and prepare for our own future. You know what I'm saying? Because if we are gonna live longer, whose burden are you planning and designing a life to sustain that?
Word.
You know what I'm saying? For us that make it and live out those days that way.
I think it's something that requires us to be intentional. I think that we
Absolutely.
have to own the fact that like we're not going to hit 99 miles per hour if we don't necessarily get there through our own planning and execution and being mindful of the fact that like it requires real choices on our behalf.